So how can we find the slope and y-intercept using a table? Well, looking and using the table, we first would look at the change in the y values, then we would look for the change in the x values. This will give us the slope when we write it as a ratio as the change in y over the change in x and simplify it. Then we can determine the corresponding y value to the x value of 0, and that will be the y-intercept. So in this table here, we can see we have x values of -3, 0, and 3, and y values of -1, 5, and 11. So the change in the y values is going to be a +6, since we're adding 6 each time. The change in the x values is +3, since we're adding 3 to each x value. So our slope, m, which is that change in y over the change in x, is equal to 6 over 3, which is 2. So the slope is 2. Then the y-intercept is the y value where x equals 0, which we can see directly from this second row in the table. So 5 is the y-intercept. So we would be able to write the equation of this line, of this table, in slope-intercept form. Y equals mx plus b. So the equation would be y equals 2x plus 5. Let's do another example where we want to determine the slope and the y-intercept from this table. So again, we're going to look at the change in the y value and the change in the x values to get our slope, and then we'll look for the value of y when x equals 0 to get our y-intercept. So the change in the y values is a +1 for adding 1 each time. It's a -5 for the change in the x values since we're subtracting 5 each time. So our slope, which is the change in y over the change in x, is equal to -1 over 5. And then the y-intercept is -4 from that second row of 0, -4. So if m equals -1/5 and b is -4, we can write the equation in slope-intercept form for this table as y equals -1/5 x minus 4.